GupShup with Gurpreet Sarin. Sup everybody, welcome to another episode of GupShup with Gurpreet Sarin. Super excited to be here because we have an awesome guest for y'all today who goes by Raaginder.
Sup,
Raaginder,
man?
glad to have you on the show, man.
Long time coming, man. I'm glad to be here.
I've been waiting on this for a little bit.
Yeah.
And you're such a hard man to catch because you're all over the place doing amazing things. But now I got you here. I glued him to his chair, so he's not allowed to leave now.
I'm not going to leave.
All right, Raaginder, let's get started with a very important question. What's your favorite Raag?
My favorite Raag, I have many. I can't like do it. I can't do it to one, you know. But let's see. I really like Asavare.
Ooh, okay.
I like Bhim Palasi. I like Kirvani, Jog. Those are like up there for me.
Yeah. I'm proud to know that I know what those rocks are. It's a big sign for me. Raaginder, you are an amazing violin player. Take us back to way back when, young Raaginder. Tell us the story of how you got started.
So music was always a big part of my life. Both my parents are musicians.
Yeah.
And I started singing. That was the first thing I ever did. Then I learned tabla, and then moved to the United States and picked up the violin in elementary school.
Yeah.
And then for some reason that I just started, from everything that I'd done in the prior to that, violin is something that just kind of came to me.
Yeah.
I had no idea like why it happened,
Really?
but it just did. And so I started taking private lessons, and next thing you know, I was like, I can probably do this and like stick with it, and that's what ended up happening.
That's crazy. So my parents also, we grew up in a musical background as well, and they also put me in orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like way back when, like Hot Cross Buns or like the Titanic theme song or whatever, and the parents are sitting there like, why are we putting our kids through this? No one wants to be here. I didn't stick through it. People still like every now and then I go to I'll play violin. They'd be like, and like I'm not Raaginder, get the heck out of here. But you stuck around.
Yeah.
What was it about violin that got you like into it so much? You know?
Well, in the beginning, I was struggling with it.
Yeah.
So like there's times where I didn't want to play.
Yeah.
But I think my parents were very supportive, but also like they pushed me.
Yeah.
So they were like, you sound pretty bad right now, but we're gonna lock you in this room and you practice for like 2 hours and you'll come out better. And then I did.
It was a tough love. Like they told you weren't good.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What was your,
And they still do to this day, like whenever I need to, like whenever they feel like I can improve.
Yeah.
Still do. So that's like the best thing I love about them.
Yeah, see, sometimes it's tough when parents coddle you, right?
Yeah.
Like my mom thinks I have the best voice ever, and I love her for that. But there's a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah.
And the fact that your parents, like, they've had that, they instilled that in you is amazing. What was your favorite song growing up that you played on violin?
I used to play this piece in high school. It was Adagio and Allegro. I forgot who the composer was, but I just used to always play that. I remember doing an orchestra in high school, and I would play that piece every day, and my teacher would be like, can you stop playing that? Can you learn something new? But I just love that piece so much.
Did you make it to the first chair, like in the very front? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you were crushing it in like symphony orchestra.
I tried, man.
My God, good for you. I first learned about Raaginder on YouTube. There was a video of you. You were always a good-looking guy, but you know you're a little chubbier. You had a patka. You were playing like Raag Padvi or something at some event in Gurudwara. And I'm like, this guy is insane. YouTube wasn't like amazing back then, but like I started watching videos, and I'm like, this guy's very, very good. And then it was I think like Basant Samagam or Darbar in Boston.
Yeah.
That I actually got to see you and like just me, Jamie play together, and I was trying to like keep up or hang out. But you just keep getting better, man. Like, how many hours a day do you practice?
Minimum 2, but I'm like doing music all day, so I'm around my violin. I'm like composing, I'm producing, I'm playing violin. So it's like, at least I have the violin in my hand 6 hours a day.
Oh God.
So it never stops. It's a lifestyle now.
Yeah,
so
it is.
It's just like, I just can't imagine going a day without it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So you were in love with your violin.
Yeah.
My God, what a beautiful love story. So let's hear it. So you started off when you were really young doing like orchestra, American music. How did you get into, your parents are obviously into Indian classical music as well. So did you start taking classes at a young age for like Raag, Indian classical music?
Yeah, so when I started learning singing, my parents like made sure I learned the whole Indian classical theory, all that kind of stuff. And then when I learned tabla, I got to learn the rhythmic side of it.
Sure.
And then when I got to violin, initially it was just the Western style orchestra, and then we found an Indian classical violin teacher, and so I just kind of really dug deep and did that.
And so how did your musicality grow over time? Because obviously people who know Raaginder now, and just a heads up, we were in New York watching you at the Pop Festival sessions where he's doing like trap, like crazy, amazing things. When you started off back then, did you have any idea you were going to do this? Talk us through how you transitioned to this style of music.
It's interesting. I never thought I'd be doing exactly what I'm doing right now. But growing up, I did have two loves, and one of them was hip hop and one of them was Indian classical.
Hey, okay.
So Indian classical was something that like was generational.
Sure.
And it was passed down to my parents and it's passed down to me.
Of course.
And so I just wanted to carry that. But then with hip hop, once I moved to the United States, I just immediately fell in love with it.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted to make both of these styles of music.
Yeah.
I don't know how it was gonna happen, but one day I was just making music for some of my friends because they didn't really understand Indian classical music too much.
Sure, sure.
And they really loved it. And it kind of started from there, just making music for my friends, and
Absolutely.
It started spreading around.
And there isn't that much like fusion of Indian classical music in like popular hip hop, trap music nowadays, right? I feel like you're probably the only one I know that's doing that thing.
Yeah, there's very few of us. I think I'm the only one in violin.
Yeah.
And then there's some people that do other genres.
Sure.
But I don't know if there's anyone that does like trap or hip hop with like Indian classical.
Growing up, who were some of your musical inspirations?
For hip hop or Indian classical?
Let's give Indian classical and then hip hop.
Okay. Indian classical, Ali Akbar Khan Sahib, Pandit Ravi Shankar, Nikhil Banerjee, Pandit Jasraj. I'll say also current inspiration is Kaushiki Chakrabarti.
Oh my God, amazing singer.
And then for hip hop, Kanye West, Pharrell, Timbaland, Jay-Z, Biggie, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole.
Let's go.
Drake. So, and then other than even those two genres, I really grew up listening to Michael Jackson.
Okay.
I loved listening to Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan.
Absolutely.
90s A.R. Rahman was amazing.
What are your thoughts on current day A.R. Rahman?
I still love it.
Yeah.
I'm all about artist progression.
Absolutely.
And I feel like he's still in his own lane and no one can touch him.
He's crushing it. Yeah. Wow. You named a lot of people there. Timbaland, Pharrell, a lot of those like music composers and producers, I can see where you get that inspiration when you hear your music with like the beats and the sounds and things you add. Big fans. Nikhil Banerjee is someone, because I know when I talked to you on the phone, you wanted to talk about the spirituality of music. That's a big thing. I know he was like a big proponent of that as well. Talk us through what music means to you from like a spiritual side.
Well, it's interesting because a lot of the music that we're part of today, especially like hip hop or even urban Asian, a lot of that's drawn by commercialism and making music that the masses can listen to. And I understand there's a place for that, but with the tradition I was raised with, Indian classical music, it's not about that. It's more about finding your inner peace, finding your soul through music. It's about really digging into the music, exploring rags and taking the emotion out of the rags at the time of the day, and letting it feed your soul. So I was raised around a lot of music that is spiritually above, commercial music.
Of course.
And so for me, it's always, when I make something, I feel the need to include that, where of course I'll make something that's a little be on the commercial side, but I have to highlight that because that's who I am. And that's something I strive to be as a musician. Every day, like, I'm not thinking about, I'm gonna put this record out and I'm gonna make it this certain way so people will like it. I'm thinking about, I'm making this because I love it. And it makes me feel a type of way inside.
Of course.
And I just hope people can resonate with that feeling that I am getting when I create this music.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's amazing. And people definitely do resonate. Again, I was in the audience at the bottom and then it became too much of a mosh pit, so I went upstairs to watch it from the top, and you can see people, like some people are going like wah wah because you're adding some like rock, and there's other people like bouncing their hands back, and so you're sort of like aligning to all these different audiences while staying true to like what music means to you. That's amazing. What was your first like on stage musical performance?
I don't remember.
Man, really?
Yeah, I've been performing since I was like 4.
My God.
And like it was probably for like some student program that my mom used to do.
Sure.
Back when we used to live in Thailand.
Okay, yeah.
And so I'm thinking it's like around then.
Yeah.
And I remember performing vocals till I was like the age of 12.
Yeah, it's amazing. Okay.
So I would say around 4 or 5 years old, but I don't remember the exact memory.
Dude, you're from Thailand.
Yeah.
Yes. Have you gone back to visit? Like how often do you go there? Yeah.
I go at least once every 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's fun. It's a great time.
Yeah, I think you're probably the only Sardar or like Sikh. There are a lot of Sikh people in Thailand.
Yeah,
I think you're the only one I know that's from that area.
Yeah.
Has the Thailand culture impacted your artistry, your music, your anything about you?
It's interesting because I was only 8 when I moved here.
Okay.
So I wasn't too attached to the culture there.
Sure.
But it definitely gave me a different perspective.
Yeah.
Like when I moved here, my perspective isn't always fully American. It's this boy being from an Asian country that moved to America.
Absolutely.
And my only exposure to American culture was Michael Jackson prior to that. And like I know what New York City was. That's about it.
Classic America,
Yeah, as an 8-year-old, that's all I knew about America, right? And then also the food.
Okay.
So like to throw a little spice in my music as well. You know, that's the only Thai thing I can think of.
This guy, yeah.
But yeah, there's more. The thing is, while I lived in Thailand, I was also very well-rounded and surrounded by Indian culture there too.
Yeah.
So I was very connected with that, and I felt like that kind of carried over into America. And once I got here, I kind of had this perspective of being an immigrant,
of course,
from Thailand.
Yeah.
But also having this other culture, this Indian culture. So it's a very interesting mix.
Yeah.
I never feel like I'm fully Thai.
Yeah.
But I do like remember my memories, and I'm like very fond of like all the times I've had there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you said that like New York City and Michael Jackson were the only real things that you thought of America. Right now you live in the West Coast. Do you plan on staying in the West Coast forever?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The West Coast is the best coast.
Yeah.
They say. You were in NorCal for a while.
Yeah.
Now you're in SoCal. In the LA area, doing music. You've also studied music, right? You're currently working on was it a master's or PhD or something crazy?
I'm working on my master's in North Indian music.
Yeah.
So the school I go to is one of the only ones that offers that program.
Oh my God, yeah.
So it's something I feel like my parents did the same exact thing. They did a master's in Indian classical music.
Yeah.
So I felt like I needed to also, match that.
Yeah, and achieve the same level.
Achieve the same level, just make them proud as much as I can.
Absolutely, man. And then you also did, I think, a bachelor's in was it fine arts or some kind of music as well?
Yeah, I did it I got a bachelor's in world music performance.
Yeah.
So for that degree, I was able to learn music from Indonesia, Africa, and China. So we got to get a really well-rounded perspective of all the music from the world.
So you start off as this kid who learns Indian classical music. You're doing some like a Western European music as well. You don't remember your first performance. There are a lot of performances of you Indian classical, like violin, tabla, duets, stuff like that on YouTube. When did you first be a part of the urban Desi, urban Asian sphere? Like, do you remember your first integration into that? Did someone reach out to you? Did you like apply to perform somewhere? How did that happen?
It's interesting, that video you brought up earlier.
Yeah, dude.
Of me like with a patka on.
Patka Raaginder, yeah.
So I remember one day I was just doing homework in my room, 17-year-old Raaginder.
Damn.
And next thing you know, I just started getting like a lot of people like texting me. They're like, this was the beginning, like 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
So this was when like Just Rain, AK just came on the scene,
Oh,
and they were like,
yeah.
all the Desis were super excited.
YouTubers,
like,
yeah.
They're like, they just commented on your video. I was like, what?
Whoa, yeah.
I was like, and then at that time, I was like, you know, teenager, so I was like fanboy. I was
Of
like,
course.
oh shit.
Just Rain commented on my video, yeah.
Yeah, and then, you know, that was probably like the first moment.
Sure.
And then from that point onwards, I was actually having this conversation with someone else. It's interesting for a lot of Sikhs how the first time that we got to express our artistry was through religious-driven programs, such as When Lions Roar in Toronto or Leher in New Jersey.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's very good that we had a platform that also raised awareness for the community, but also allowed artists to find their voice.
Of course.
I feel like that was like a training ground for a lot of us.
Sure, yeah.
So I got invited to, the first time I did something in the urban Asian scene before it was even a scene.
Yeah.
It was at When Lions Roar, and I just remember everyone was there. There's Rupi Kaur, Just Rain, Fateh, Superwoman.
Yeah. Oh, that's wild.
Sunny Malton. Literally everyone was there.
Yeah.
And this was like a beautiful place for everyone to come together, and that's like pretty much where I got my first start. And then the second time was at Leher.
Okay.
And it's interesting how that used to be like the scene for us, and now it's turned into something way bigger.
Y'all are like the pioneers. Like that's your first experience of performing with all of you guys together.
Yeah.
And now you're like crushing it up there, performing with like the greats. You are one of the greats. That's I remember you at Leher actually. I remember you wore a black pagdi.
Yeah.
Someone from our Gurdwara, we had come up in the bus, and on the way back, all these girls were just so obsessed with you. The first thing they kept saying is your pagdi was so perfect, and his hair is so like golden, and like he's so authentic and unique looking. I'm like, yeah. You get that a lot? Is that a thing?
People like my pag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I met girls being obsessed with you. It's
I mean, it comes with the territory, but I'm in a happy relationship.
Oh.
And I'm just sticking with that.
A happy relationship with music, or like a relationship?
A relationship.
Excellent. Anything more you want to share about that?
I've been with her for 4 years, and it's been amazing.
Good for you, man. Happy to hear that. That's longer than I've been with my wife, so I love that. Very good news. Does your, I imagine as an artist who creates music, a lot of your experiences and emotions probably go into that sort of storytelling process. Walk us through, and I actually want to talk about a lot of your new music, because you're crushing it out there with some of your new songs. Walk us through like your songwriting process, your creating process.
So it's been interesting, because in the past, I would deliberately think about things a lot, and be like, oh, I want this type of track, I want this type of track. But within the last year, where a lot of the tracks I released this year are from like last year to now, a lot of those tracks have just been kind of spur of the moment, whatever I'm feeling, and just letting things flow out. And I feel like the violin is my voice, and just whatever naturally comes out, I just let it come out and not try to think too much about it. And I feel like that's been working for me. And I feel like it's more authentic in that way, where I'm just letting it flow. And so what happens is I do this, I let it flow, and then I'll see the parts that I like. And then I expand on them more, or then I arrange them a certain way. And then and with production, I like to like look for samples or loops, and then build around those and put violin on top.
Gotcha. Inferno, like the music video for that, by the way, is insane.
Thank you.
That was one where you shot in Punjab. Dude, that's wild. So talk us through the music video process, because I'm sure there's something behind that where you're sort of telling the story. There's a certain like theme associated with the song, and then you want to sort of tell a story in a music video format. So walk us through the Inferno music video and what the storyline for that was.
So that was very spur of the moment. I went to India last year, and my cousin Sirtal was really good friends with the director. And I had this song, Inferno, and I was like, I need to get a good video for it.
Sure.
I'm like, I'm in India, I need to shoot something while I'm out here. And I thought I was just gonna shoot on my iPhone, put the 4K on, and just try to get footage.
Dude.
And I was like, let me just hit him up, see what happens.
Of course.
And he was like, bro, just come to my house in Bathinda, and we'll get everything sorted out. So the only thing I had to get was a stabilizer, and we went there. And we just talked about some of the themes we wanted.
Yeah.
Some of the themes we went for was like freedom. Some of the themes were also like getting, showing the landscape of Punjab.
Of course.
And the landscape of the farms.
Yeah.
As well as like the courties that are there. But we try to kind of make it creepy at the same time.
It was really creepy. Yeah.
Yeah, because the thing is, the song has like a sinister kind of feel to it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So like we try to have elements of freedom with like horses running. But overall, it's very open-ended.
Yeah.
Like, I know what the video means to me, but I kind of left it open-ended just so people find their own meaning.
Yeah.
And but there's themes that can kind of take it whatever direction you wanted to take.
I loved it because there were so many different elements, right? There's the people standing there super like strict and like gangster, just like staring you down. I don't know who, like, were they people you hired in the background? Was it family or friends, like, that were in the music video? There was one guy sitting on top of a roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're family friends of the director.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
So he just called them all over and they're just shooting a music video.
Yeah, they were down. They were just like, they were
wild.
super down with it.
You were like riding a bicycle or something?
Yeah, there's like a Desi bicycle.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is like this Uncle G in the corner. I was like, yo, can I use your bike? And he's like, go ahead.
Hella cute. I love that. Yeah, that was amazing. One of my favorite songs from your newest songs is Summer Nights.
Oh, nice.
Dude, yeah, we're blasting that on like so we live in DC now, and actually a couple days ago I did this where we had a Bluetooth speaker and just Instagram story, Summer Nights, blasting in the background. A lot of people replied back and they're like, dude, this is insane. It's dope. Tell us about that song and how you got that.
So the song kind of came about in like phases.
Yeah.
First I just made the beat.
Okay.
And it was like kind of the same process. I found this loop.
Yeah.
And I was trying to build around the loop. And then I kind of came up with this like kind of boom bap type beat.
Okay.
Which I don't do much, but
No.
I love it. I love like that style of music.
Sure.
And then I recorded some violins on it, just kind of freestyled it.
Yeah.
And kind of worked out. I was like, this is good. But I felt like something was missing, so I sent it to Wise Child, who was my friend from Sacramento, amazing producer.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then he added that whole breakdown at the end with the drop.
Yeah.
And we put it together, and ended up being like a very nostalgic track. Like it's a track I'm proud of, just because like when you play it, it kind of puts you in a zone.
Absolutely, man.
And you feel, I don't know, I start feeling memories from like summer nights.
Oh man, I loved it when you're sliding from notes to notes. That is insane. Like it has me like wanting more, like sort of like leaning in and just hearing it. So talk us through your upcoming projects. Anything new you have coming up? What's next?
I have a new track coming out like very soon.
Nice.
Like maybe next week or the week after.
Oh my god. Okay. So this episode probably won't be released for a couple weeks. So you probably would have like already released.
It'll probably drop by
All right.
then.
So can you tell us the name or anything else, because it's like.
I haven't chosen a name yet.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
okay.
but the track's done, the video's done, everything's done.
All right. Well, you'll find out what it is.
Yeah.
in a couple of weeks. How do you choose names for songs?
I'm horrible with names.
Yeah.
Like Inferno, I chose like literally 3 days before I released a track.
What the heck? Okay.
I'm a musician. I'm a violinist. I'm not good with my words.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't know what you're naming.
I don't know yet, but it'll come to me. It always comes.
Yeah.
It all comes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like naming a child. Eventually you just do it.
Yeah.
You get admitted from the hospital. You can't do that. So the song, you create a song. It's good to go. Then you create the music video after the song. Do you get help from people for the music video? Like you mentioned in India, there's someone who helped you direct that. And you probably have some input into like the music video storyline and theme as well. Talk us through getting ready to perform. Is there a difference between you've written the song, you're ready to play it, and then performing it on stage. What's the difference in like preparation for that?
When it comes to recording,
Yeah.
it's much more different because it's a controlled environment.
Okay.
You can do many takes,
Sure.
and if you mess up, it's no issue.
Yeah.
When it comes to live performances, a lot of that comes down to how much you practice
Man.
or how prepared you are. And it just comes down to rehearsing and practice because you can be a great studio artist,
Yeah.
but it might not translate live if you don't have the time put in.
Sure.
So I make sure when I perform that I rehearse a lot before.
Yeah.
And that I also go in with a clear intent of what I'm going to say between each songs, as well as what the order of each song is.
Yeah.
So, and while I'm performing, I'm very aware of what's happening in the crowd.
Okay.
And I try to gauge that. So if I need to skip a track, I can let the DJ know. Or if the energy's down, I'll try to do something to rile them up.
Yeah, yeah.
Or just kind of play around with them and see where they can go.
Sure.
And a lot of that's just experience and
Okay.
just performing.
Yeah.
But it's just being aware of those things. So I try to actively be aware of that, and also I watch other people perform. I'll go on YouTube and watch other artists perform and see the techniques they use and see how it works. Perfect example is that's Beyonce, because she's like legendary performer.
Puts in so much time and effort.
Exactly.
I went to the gym 3 years ago. I'd gotten membership at LA Fitness.
Mm-hmm.
I canceled it and got it again. But anyway, the first time I got it, I had just opened in our neighborhood, and there's a guy working there. And he's like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm working full time, but I'm also interested in singing and performing." And he's like, "Oh man, so you want to look like Beyonce?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, kind of like the guy version of Beyonce." But what he meant is she works out in the gym so that she can have the endurance, so she can work out and like do crazy dances and songs while also singing live. Like, it's a lot of work. You also are jumping up on stage, like jumping up and down with the violin in your hand. Do you practice that on your own? Does that just happen naturally on stage?
It kind of happens naturally.
Yeah.
But you gotta have like some sort of a workout routine to be able to do that.
Yeah, because I'm sure you get tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was times where like my workouts weren't I wasn't up to date too much, and then I would feel it on stage. So it's very important, just to have like a lifestyle balance.
Absolutely.
So you can jump around and do crazy things on stage.
Let's talk workouts. Do you have really strong finger muscles?
I do, actually.
Yeah. Because I remember when I tried playing violin when I was 8, the guy made us do an exercise where we were creeping up the violin, the bow. He's like, "All right, now act like a monkey and just like creep up the violin bow." And then my thumb, like, I don't know, I was just not very strong. But I'm sure you have like super strong. Let me see your hands real quick. Yeah, those are meaty hands. Very masculine. Yeah. Holy shit. Okay. But let's talk workouts. So, how often do you go to the gym now?
At least twice a week.
Okay.
Or 3 times if I'm in town and if I'm like on my routine.
Yeah.
This is when you travel, things get a little.
Do you have like a routine when you're traveling? Do you do like push-ups at the hotel? Like, how do you?
I'm really bad when I'm traveling.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Just eating wise, just everything.
No, I
wise?
try to make sure I'm eating well when I
good.
travel. Yeah, just because it all adds up. But workouts kind of go away when you're traveling.
Yeah, it's hard to be. So I got with this LA Fitness membership. I was going to Chicago, Canada, and they have access everywhere. And so I would love to work out when I was visiting my in-laws in Chicago or like a wedding in Canada. But very rarely would I go when I was at home. So it's kind of the opposite for me. What is your like workout or fitness goal?
My goal is just to be like fit.
Okay.
Like just be healthy.
Yeah.
And just kind of maintain like a healthy lifestyle.
Okay.
Like I'm not really into like being like buff or like any of that kind of stuff.
Fair enough.
But I just want to be able to go and like, get some exercise in, burn some calories, and just keep that routine going.
Makes sense.
Just to have like a healthy lifestyle and have endurance, especially for performing.
Yeah. That actually makes sense. So for you, endurance is something necessary when you're on stage.
Exactly.
To make sure you have energy. That makes sense.
It goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it does. We were together at a performance once in Richmond.
Yeah.
And we were eating carbs in a restaurant. when I don't remember who. Oh, the waiter brought up that you look like Aquaman, but you don't want to physically look like Aquaman. You just facially look like Aquaman.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to like make a lot of lifestyle changes to physically look like him.
Yeah, I mean, look at this guy. He's got the Aquaman physique and everything. Oh, look at that. Ooh. Kill him. But yeah, let's talk. So performance-wise, again, depending on what kind of performance you do, who your audience is, you sort of tailor to that. Obviously, if you're doing an Indian classical performance, you're not going to hype up the audience or jump up and down because they want to sort of hear that more spiritual side. Even in Richmond, when you were performing a different demographic, like you were playing trap, you were hyping them up, but I'm sure as an artist, you sort of feed off of the energy.
Yeah.
So like yesterday's performance, the sessions where you had like hundreds, thousands of people in the audience, everyone's jumping, bopping, you're sort of feeding off of the energy and then like giving that back to them. That's wild.
Yeah, and that's just an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
Even with Indian classical performances, when you're like performing and you're playing some improvised lines,
yeah,
and you get like wah-wahs from the audience,
sure,
like you even feed off of that, and that's not as like crazy as people jumping up and down,
of course,
but that's rewarding in its own way.
Yeah.
And it's just as rewarding as when people are just going crazy and jumping up and down.
Absolutely. Now I know that you have collaborated with a lot of people in the urban desi sphere. What has been your most memorable performance or like artist to work with?
I would probably say Fateh.
Yeah.
Just because I work with him the most.
Sure.
And we've just had many great memories creating like countless tracks together.
Of course.
And like I can pinpoint like each memory that I have with each track that I've worked with him with.
Yeah.
And there's not many artists I can say that I have, like I can remember the moment I was there and did everything.
Absolutely.
It's always memorable with him.
Of course. Let's talk about Fateh's new album, New Memories.
Yes.
New Memories indeed. And you produced the entire album.
Executive produce.
What is the difference between a producer and an executive producer?
So it's like, let's give it like there's like three tiers. So there's a beat maker.
Oh shit.
The person that makes the beats.
Beat maker. Okay.
And then there's a producer who arranges the beats,
okay.
makes changes to the beats,
yeah.
adds to the beats.
Okay.
And then there's an executive producer who goes through the whole album, makes sure the arrangements are fine.
Yeah.
Arrange things a certain way.
Yeah.
EQ, making sure that the sound fits the sound of the artist.
Of course.
So because Fateh and I have been working a lot the past couple of years,
yeah.
I kind of know what he wants out of his sound. So I make each track fit that mold by doing engineering or adding some musical elements on top. So I was able to work in all three phases.
Yeah.
Of that.
Oh dang, okay.
There's some tracks on that where I did the beat
maker
and produce. And then there's some tracks where I only produced. And then there's some tracks where and then there's all the tracks where I actually did the executive production.
Dang.
Yeah.
Man, I imagine songs are like babies where you can't have a favorite, but like from his album, Fateh's album, what would you say was your favorite track?
Probably two of them. One of them is Sardari.
Yes.
And that's the one I produced.
Yeah.
And then there's also Ayat-e-Nulan, which I co-produced that one.
That's dope. Okay.
So that one, those two are probably my favorite.
I love that. Again, I'm sure they'll have videos of the sessions performance. You did something very unique and different. We were watching from the top. I didn't get an invitation to be a part of this Sardari movement. Tell us real quickly what was it your idea to bring everyone on stage? How did that work?
So I was on side stage and Tanmit from Roots here, he came up to me and I'm like, bro, I have an idea. It was just literally 5 minutes before I got on.
That's wild.
And I was like, yo, just grab as many Sardars as you can and just get on stage.
Holy shit. Okay.
So I don't know if he didn't make it. He probably didn't make it your way, but he pretty much grabbed everyone and he was like, come on stage.
Dude, that's wild.
But I felt like it was necessary.
100%.
Just because we, being the only Sardar on the lineup.
Of course.
I know Gurpreet Sarin, he was actually performing.
He was, yeah.
So that was another Sardar. I'm glad to see him there. But I felt like we needed some representation.
I think so. And you mentioned that too. You're like, I like how I'm the only Sardar here, and everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah. So we had to show out, and
Absolutely.
It was a special moment. Just for me, I felt like, just for us, it was a special moment.
I agree. Yeah, it was a special moment for us as well, standing in the heavens, looking down, having FOMO. For a second, I think I was gonna run down. I didn't want to be that one like guy who's basically an uncle. Like, yeah, I'm gonna make.
We would have happily accepted you, bro.
Thank you, the Sardar cult. So we would have loved to have you. I love it. That's awesome. Okay, so going back to your unnamed new track, what are you doing different with this song than with previous songs?
This one is like it's a beat that's surrounded by, it's like a piano influence beat.
Ooh, okay.
So it's kind of like a violin on top of piano kind of thing.
Okay.
But it also have elements of trap. So it's kind of, when you hear it, you can tell it's like a track I would create.
Yeah.
But it's different from the tracks I've created before.
Okay.
So that's probably the best way I can describe it.
It's very confusing.
Yeah.
I didn't understand much of that, but I get that. So it's got elements of Raaginder, but there's also the piano, which I think will be a little different than what you've done in the past. Who are some artists, some contemporary, like mainstream artists that you would love to collaborate with?
Right now, Young Thug.
Okay. Oh shit.
Yeah, Young Thug. Who else? Kendrick Lamar. Beyonce.
Damn.
Gunna. Who else? There's a long list. Drake.
Oh, dude, 100%.
Yeah. Mike Dean. Mike Dean is he produced a lot of stuff for Kanye West as well as Travis Scott.
Okay. Oh, it's sweet. Okay.
And I just want to kind of like sit in a room with Mike Dean and just kind of like be a fly on the wall,
dude,
or even play.
Amazing.
He's like an underground legend. I think a lot of people don't realize the impact Mike Dean has had.
Mike Dean.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard of the name Mike Dean. Okay.
Pretty much every track that you've heard that like Kanye or Travis Scott has had that is like amazing.
Yeah.
Mike Dean is behind it.
Really?
As well as Rick Rubin.
Okay. Yeah.
Rick Rubin and Timbaland and Pharrell. That's like a bucket list for me.
100%.
For those two.
Wow. Obviously, you're making it, or you're probably at the top, Urban Desi. I don't know what the next tier up would be. Have you performed with Diljit or Sidhu Moosewala yet?
I haven't, but I have featured on songs with both of them.
That's why. So yesterday, you had mentioned a performance. There was this, is it Dollar Avanguni or something?
Yeah.
Did you play violin for that, or were you doing a cover of that song?
No, I actually played violin on that song.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Tell us how that opportunity came about.
So Big Bird and I, we've known each other for like 10 years.
Dang. Okay.
And we were just talking. We met a couple months back, like after a long time.
Yeah.
And we were just staying in touch.
Of course.
And he sent me this track. He's like, "Yo, you want to play some violins on it?" Did it, laced it, sent it out.
Damn.
And ended up being a huge track.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dollar Avanguni. Yo. Okay, so you were in that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I have to go back to listen to it now because I saw you playing it yesterday. And I'm like, why does it sound like it works so perfectly? It's because it was you.
Yeah.
And Diljit, what song did you do with Diljit?
I did a song with him that leaked, so it's not an official release, but it's like a leaked song. It's called Ranjana, and I have like a 16-bar solo on there.
Wait, so it hasn't officially? I mean, are they releasing it? Do you know?
It's not releasing. It's just a leaked song, but Diljit's on it.
All right, but next time you're gonna be in like an actual officially released Diljit.
Let's see. I'm not like.
I don't care about that guy either.
No. I mean, I love his music, but let's see.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to like go too far ahead, but.
Fair enough. Where do you see yourself in? I don't know. 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years.
In 1 year, I hope I am at a spot where I have my album out and people from all around the world are listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
People that listen to me, I'm not expecting like, it's best case scenario if it really blows up, but
of course.
I want people just to like resonate with it and listen to it.
Absolutely.
And ideally I want to tour.
Oh yeah, dude.
A year from now or even earlier.
Sure.
That's if logistically everything works out.
Yeah.
But 5 years and 10 years from now, like I can't really think too much of that right now.
You probably shouldn't, yeah.
I just I like to really go with the flow.
Yeah.
And I feel like, especially with music, it's kind of like a daily grind.
Yeah.
And I try to focus on things like in a 6 month kind of radius,
Okay, yeah.
and then kind of just build forward.
So once the 6 months are done, next 6 months.
Yeah.
It's a smart idea.
And that way, like, I don't get too far ahead of myself.
Good.
Because I don't want. I feel like if I set expectations for myself, like 5 years from now, it's always different. Life always it finishes different. Like, it always feels different when you get to a point, or when even like if you set something for yourself. Most of the time something different happens. It's not the exact thing happens. Maybe something exactly happens, but it happens in a different way.
Sure.
So like I'm kind of like over having expectations and just kind of going with the flow and accepting whatever life throws at me.
I like that. Yeah, because life can change.
Exactly.
I threw you like an interview question, like 5 years down the road, even in like the professional business, your life changes. So like you can't really plan that much ahead. And like you said, like you have expectations, you get there, but your life circumstances are different. So you might not even enjoy or feel like, my expectation was to have Raaginder on this show. And I'm glad I did, because it's exactly what I expected.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what I wanted. I saw on your Insta story, you had mentioned, okay, I've released some singles. Who's ready for a tour? I think it was like a poll. I said hell yes, or one of those things, because I'm excited to go on a tour, or for you to go on a tour. Logistically, how does that work? Do you hire a tour manager? How do you do that?
Yeah, you have to hire a tour manager. I mean, you can do it without one, but then you're gonna have to go through promoters.
Okay.
But ideally, if you have a good tour manager, they can make sure you're like taken care of, the promotion's done properly.
Sure.
And most good tour managers have connections with good venues across the United States. So I would only do it when I know it's the right situation.
Gotcha.
And so I'm like, I want to do it. I know I want to do it, but I'll only do it when it's right.
Like when it's ready.
When it's right, and when the person, whoever's involved with it, is someone I can trust.
Makes sense. Raaginder, talk us through your fashion sense, because I've had the opportunity to, my wife and I were fortunate to have you perform at our wedding reception. My favorite performance of Raaginder was our wedding reception. You performed at other people's weddings as well as galas, concerts, but your style is always like super impeccable. It's like urban desi, like Indian, also a little bit of hip hop and trap. The buggy you're wearing right now is very different than mine. You got a gold chain. Tell us your fashion sense.
My fashion sense like directly reflects the music I play.
I believe that.
And I'm very inspired by streetwear. Okay. Just in general, like hip hop culture and streetwear.
Sure.
And even Japanese streetwear.
What is Japanese streetwear?
Like Bathing Ape, like a lot of the older stuff, like Kanye, like 2006-ish kind of streetwear from Japanese, and like just Japanese like clothing in general. It's like very, it's kind of forward, like very forward thinking.
Yeah,
and
they're advanced.
And I just really like Japanese clothing, and I've kind of got to a point now where it's just like, I just like wearing whatever I think I look good in.
Yeah.
And it's like, I used to be a lot about like names and like
brands or labels.
But I don't know, like in the last year or something, I've kind of like, whatever just looks good, I'll just wear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's like $5 or if it's like
$5,000.
No, I don't buy $5,000 clothes.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but yeah, just whatever it looks good. And so I don't discriminate against brands or anything anymore, but I just like to wear something that I feel like fits me, like looks that fits my personality. So like especially with the pagga, like I like wearing this style, and
it works so well for your brand, like your vibe. Absolutely.
Yeah, and shoes. I like shoes.
Yeah. Talk us through some shoes. What, like brands or colors?
Yeah, that's one thing I like brands. So I really like Nikes. I'm more on the Nike side right now. I was on the Adidas side like a couple years.
Yeah, dude.
But I've been, I don't know, I feel like Nike has converted me.
It looks like it.
But Asics are nice. Vans. I was wearing Vans yesterday.
I saw. Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't gone too much into the designer shoes.
Yeah.
I'm happy with my Nikes.
We spoke before the interview started about how you can hire, this is mind-blowing to me, you can hire a stylist for an event. How does that work again? What do? You just pay them money and they dress you?
Yeah, they can get you a wardrobe, and say if you have a music video, you can hire a stylist.
Okay.
And they'll like check your measurements, and then they'll bring you like a rack of different things.
Wow.
And they'll like try this, try that, try that, try that. Or even if you want to do a photo shoot,
Yeah.
like there's a lot of stylists around, and there's a lot of Desi stylists.
Okay.
That are like in this urban Asian scene. So there's a lot of people coming out that are, that look like us, have our perspective, and they're doing kind of like this hybrid styling thing where, like my music, where it's traditional, but it has the elements of Western.
Yeah, so you
culture.
can sort of dress up like that style.
Yeah.
That is wild. Raaginder, where can everyone find you and your music, especially your new music?
Everyone can find me on all social media platforms at Raaginder, and my music is on Spotify, Apple Music, every streaming platform. And if you guys like watching music videos, YouTube is the place.
And his music videos are fire, literally fire. Raaginder, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
And I had the opportunity to jam with him on IGTV, so make sure y'all check that out as well on my Instagram. But thank you everyone for tuning in to another episode of GupShup with Gurpreet Sarin. I'll see you again in 2 weeks. Peace. Hey there. Thank you again for tuning in to GupShup with Gurpreet Sarin. I am happy that you watched till the very end of the video. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also, make sure to check out the audio version of the podcast on Apple, Google, and Spotify podcasts. Also, make sure to check out the IGTV for some behind the scenes action where I will be posting some interactive things with my guests. Thank you again so much for tuning in to another episode of GupShup with Gurpreet Sarin. I will see you next Wednesday.